What to do, YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review Gucci Mane and Young Thug's collaboration mixtape, which is called the Purple Album. Now, this project basically came out in 2014, but it was around the time when Gucci Mane was in prison. Gucci Mane went to prison in late 2013 after sipping lean and really going crazy on Twitter and starting to beef with a bunch of people. Got arrested, went to prison until 2016, but he did a number. Like Gucci Mane did a lot of music in 2013, and a lot of that basically came out between 2014 and 2016 when he was finally released. And one of the things that he was trying to do was trap. The current day trap, the 2010s trap, was kind of still in like um, the more kind of cresting stages where it was kind of starting to be less prenatal and more growing. Like trap was showing a lot more growth throughout 2014 and 2015, and Gucci Mane was originally going to help motivate that movement. And he put on 3 artists in 2014, or helped put on, was going to distribute them and give them some exposure in 2014. These projects were actually made in 2013, but they were the White Album with Pee Wee Longway, the Green Album with Migos, which I reviewed back in 2020, and the Purple Album with Young Thug. Now, I haven't talked about Young Thug in an overabundance on Acid Roots. I want to start talking about him more. I kind of feel like he does have some bubblers. I have reviewed his Barter 6 album, so you can find that on this channel. But I'm going to start messing with Young Thug more and kind of get to talking about some of these. Because this project is kind of a boiler. I mean, it's free. There's 12 songs on here. Truthfully, Gucci Mane is not on here that much, which was kind of the same thing with the Migos album. Gucci Mane, because he was, I think he probably would have worked on this project more had he not went to prison, but he's only on like 1 or 2, maybe 3 songs at most, something like that. Not very many songs. So the spotlight is basically on Young Thug, and even the songs that Gucci Mane is on are really not the highlights. I wish he would have been on some of the better, more crested songs. Like there's some DJ Mustard beats on here that I really would have liked to have seen Gucci Mane on. Like I feel like is a real nice one, and Wait Your Turn has a nice beat. Texter has a nice beat. Geeked Up has a nice beat. Those are some real great ones. I would have even taken Donald Trump, but that's just kind of the concept about it as far as how some of those kind of go that Gucci Mane is not on. To my knowledge, he's at least on Panoramic, Roof, and See You Later, which both are not anywhere near the best songs on this project. But this is a free project here. It's a real sparkly kind of project. Definitely has some lit club type moments, strip club moments, some promo moments. Young Thug kind of has like a real pop rap, kind of some promo Tayo Cruz type songs that just remind you of just kind of being flirtatious with some chick and that type stuff, and kind of stepping out, just places where there's more flashy type things, just kind of a promo kind of night. And then there's just some overall good vanilla dance club type songs and just things in that sort of mixture. Like I feel like the fact that he has a couple DJ Mustard beats on here when he was a pretty heralded producer in 2014 is pretty good. There's a Nard and B beat on here. There's some folks like that. I mean, really, it's tough to notify every single producer just because there's no wiki page about this. So DatPiff, for one thing, is continuing to have problems. I was not able to use that website for help. So really, there's just not an overabundance of information about this mixtape. And it's 9 years old now. I would like to cover it and get it some exposure just to be able to talk about it. But that's just kind of the concept. Is there's some good stuff on here. There's at least a cat named Young LA who collaborates with Young Thug a lot on here, and there's some other cats that I don't know, like MPA Wicked and MPA Dukes. I don't know who they are, but there's folks like that. Young Thug has a good assortment of folks to help him out and that sort of thing. But yeah, this is a pretty well produced project. There's lots of stepping out moments, and considering that this album is free, that's really saying something. Just because the quality behind it, there are beats on here that Young Thug probably paid $50,000, $80,000 for, just for you to download for free. And just that kind of concept, just the fact that he's plocking down $80,000 just for a free download. So that's pretty good. The fact that some of these are that good and that type of stuff, I appreciate the concept behind that. These are definitely some bubblers on here. So I'm going to go ahead and list the 7 songs out of 12 I recommend. So those 7 songs would be Geeked Up, Hurt Nobody, Tell Nobody No, Riding Around, Texter, and Wait Your Turn. So that's kind of the concept. So Like I really like the kind of sparkling, real kind of glittery and just kind of disco-esque kind of club type beat on Texture. That's a really nice one. And I feel like the two DJ Mustard beats are really standouts also. I feel like Riding Around and are both great produced songs. These are both crunchy club type songs, especially circa 2014. These can thump even now. I really feel like probably has one of the best beats on here. That's a real glittery one. This real sparkling kind of song on there. And then Riding Around is kind of the more smoking in the club, kind of just sitting at a booth type one. And Wait Your Turn is pretty much just like this is a more entry and vanilla club type song, but it's interesting that Young Thug has different variations for the club and that sort of thing, as far as like a nightlife or a nightclub, that sort of thing, dance club, some of those type moments. So it's interesting to get that. Um, Tell Nobody No is kind of like a promo song, like Hurt Nobody and Tell Nobody No are both kind of the promo songs on here, but I feel like Tell Nobody No is at least something that reminds me of something that Blood on the Dance Floor would do. It's a real kind of like Tell Nobody No is kind of similar to Blood on the Dance Floor's Death to Your Heart, if you know that song off of Epic. It's got a similar kind of mild dance club, but not really furious dancing, but just kind of like a mild, slow tempo kind of dance club type song. Has a nice groove towards it. It's really kind of pop rap-ish and kind of more commercial. It's surprising that Young Thug kind of had this sort of dexterity before he even had an album out, just to kind of say some of these. And then Hurt Nobody is definitely kind of a promo song. I definitely like that one. Like I said, Hurt Nobody and Tell Nobody No are the two promo songs for Stepping Out, where they're not necessarily club songs, but they do kind of have like a flashy kind of just going places in the city type feel towards it. Something about stepping out and kind of going places and having to dress up and be fashionable and that type of stuff. And both of these songs, Hurt Nobody and Tell Nobody No, are also flirty kind of Bay songs in a lot of ways, songs for Bay and that type of stuff. So it's interesting kind of get that because they may not appear that they're songs for Bay and that type of stuff, but they kind of are. And then Geeked Up is another glitzy kind of nightlife song, definitely one for a nightclub and that sort of thing. So keep in mind that this album is kind of just, I mean, this many hits out of 12, 7 hits out of 12 here, packed to the gills full of nightlife type ventures that have some pretty solid beats. Now, the only other thing to say about this particular project is just the fact that you have to pay attention to Young Thug's drawl. He very much is a mumble rap rapper, and his kind of like whiny and kind of his kind of like lethargic and kind of wheezy F baby. He kind of was an offspring and a spawn of Lil Wayne, so he kind of has that kind of whiny wheeze about his voice that maybe I don't know if every folk that is not like completely up on the tab on Atlanta trap and trap music in general would take a liking to his kind of wheezy kind of drawl. But that's just kind of the concept. He does a lot of mumble rap on here, and he has kind of an unorthodox style of rapping that may be a put off to some folks that aren't used to it and a don't have like a temperament for it. So that's just kind of the concept. But he is a good lyricist, and he's kind of similar to like kind of a mixture of like Old Dirty Bastard and Lil Wayne in that kind of crazy sense. Some of those type folks, and probably Kodak Black would be another one. Those type folks. Same context as that. He's just kind of a wild card in a lot of ways. That's kind of the concept. But talk about the 5 songs I didn't enjoy. Like I would have liked Donald Trump, but I just felt like that beat was kind of hard to hear, and it just didn't quite get noisy enough to really. I felt like it was just kind of like a headphones kind of song where you had to really listen to pay attention to it. I just felt like the noise should have been turned up a lot more, and the beat was just too quiet to really get to like. I mean, it was trying to be a club song, but it was just such a quiet one. It was just kind of an odd one. And then Clap Your Hands and You the Best are kind of more promo songs, kind of similar to Hurt Nobody and Tell Nobody No, but they just don't pull it off as well. Like I feel like Young Thug's drawl and kind of his approach to these songs were kind of off-putting, like where I said it's kind of something to get used to. There are some songs where the drawl is kind of tougher to handle than other songs, but it's just kind of, I mean, those are more promo songs and stepping out kind of in a fashionable sense and songs for the ladies if you want those, but they're not, the learning curve is a little bit steeper on those songs, Clap Your Hands and You the Best. And then I didn't really like the beat on Panoramic Roof. This is one of the few songs that Gucci Mane is on. I wish he would have been on so many other songs on here, but I guess he just didn't get enough time to polish this album off just because he was going to prison and having other problems with lean and that type stuff. And then I just didn't like I didn't really like the feel of See You Later. That was just one I wasn't vibing with. So, but to rank this album, me liking 7 out of 12, I'm going to go ahead and give this album a 6.75 out of 10. I feel like over half the album is pretty damn good, but just kind of a mixture of just like some awkward kind of moments on here where I think if these had been pulled off better, like especially Clap Your Hands and You the Best, if those had been pulled off better, I probably would have liked 2/3 or basically 3/4 of this project, and it probably would have gotten like an 8 or something like that if I just liked those two songs. But just between Donald Trump being hard to hear and Clap Your Hands and You the Best is not being executed well enough, I felt like those were three blunders that probably didn't need to happen but kind of did. That just kind of happened to be the thing. So just I wound up liking 7 out of 12, but it almost could have been 10 out of 12 that I liked had the pull off been a little bit better. But that's just kind of the thing. The social score, I'm going to go ahead and give an 8 out of 10 because Young Thug really stepped out on this project, and it's pretty crazy just to kind of see this stuff just for a free project and just being able to say that he didn't have any albums out. He was still kind of very much a freshman in terms of what he was doing with music back in 2014. So Gucci Mane found him. Gucci Mane affiliated with him early, and he was kind of making waves in 2013 and 2014. But this is definitely a good look for Young Thug, and this is a showcase of his varietized songwriting abilities as far as like a beat selector and that type of stuff. So it was really pretty kick-ass. 8 social, and in terms of the future, Young Thug has been in prison since May of 2022, and I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I know like the concept of this affiliation type stuff is one thing, but I think they're kind of taking it quite draconian and harshly. So I just wonder if it's kind of going to the extreme and that type of stuff. And I would like to see Young Thug put out some more projects. It would definitely be pretty kick-ass to kind of get that sort of thing. But I think enough folks making noise. We should be able to get Young Thug home and that type of stuff. But just to kind of be able to say that this is definitely a bubbler in terms of some quality here.